evening, everybody. Good evening. Happy Friday. I hope you all had a great week. I'm just doing a little color in here while I'm waiting. It's the first Friday of June. New release. How fun, fun, fun. So we are just having some fun, and I'm going to play with some of the new release, and I hope you guys will be fun and have fun and join me. So it's a beautiful day here in Iowa. It's been not too hot. We had a couple hot days and then a couple non-hot days. So um, it's kind of, I mean, we've got fans on, windows open, but it's pretty good. So in the description box below, I did link the collection of items I'm using tonight. There's not a bundle per se, but the items that I am using are there. And hi Mom, how are you? I am going to go ahead and switch my camera over and we'll get towards it. All right, so for our collection tonight, we are going to use the new Thanks for Sailing stamp set and SVG. And I know I've showed this before, but I'll show you a little bit on how I do that. I have also pulled out some fun, I don't even remember. I think I pulled out all of these fun glazes and stuff. They're kind of hard to see. I'll pull them up to the screen with that. So we've got some splash glitter glaze, some of the snorkel splash chroma glaze, Cosmo glaze, the confetti blue chroma mat, and then I grabbed some candy coat teal and some creative confection huckleberry swirl. I just thought that would be fun to add some things. And then I also have the sand paste, and oh, I didn't clean my stencil off. I knew there was something I was forgetting. Let's grab it. It's been sitting in my little bin here for the last day. The new coral stencil. I've got it in my stencil bin drying off, soaking, but I haven't really cleaned it. So let's get that done because we're going to use that, I hope, tonight too. We're going to hopefully make a couple cards. So, all right. First things off the bat, I want to say if I share any links, some of them may be affiliate links, which means that that if you buy something from them, I get a small kickback, but it does not cost you anything. I also have a code that is if you purchase from the Brutus Monroe store and you put in the card Sugar Cards by Candi, you may get a small discount on the products that are available to get that discount. And that also would give me just a little bit of uh, a little kickback. So I did pull out of my stash some Lawn Fawn wave stencils tonight. Thanks, Cindy. We're going to use that tonight. I'm going to use that second because I want to go in and start with this stuff first. Hi, Karen. Hi, Cindy. Any wave stencil will work. These are just the ones that I have. I have the wave borders, the accents, the Lawn Fawn Stitch simple wavy borders, and the ocean wavy borders. I don't even know what they all are. I just grabbed them. So what I wanted to show you is what I did first. I'm not going to show you all of these because they're all the same. Oh, Penny, then we're right up your alley because we're going to be on the beach here in just a minute. I'm going to show you how I basically used all of these glazes. Okay, they're all going to be the same, but we're just going to do one of them. And I think I'm going to do the new Cosmo glaze, sorry, because I just think that's really fun. So this one is Snorkel Splash. I just have two of them right now, but all of the ways I did this today were the same. So I just basically took my little spatula knife and I took some white, this is some like Not Your Mama cardstock, and I just did a nice, and I mean, you could set it on the table, but I'm just going to hold it because it's not going to take long. And I just spread it out because we're going to use this to make our waves. So we got a little bit of coloring to do tonight, not much. But I just wanted to show that. So another thing there's a couple other housekeeping things. It is Freebie Friday. So there is a item. It's this new water reactive paper that will go in your cart when you have a purchase. Penny, if you remember, I did not see it last night. If it's a set number, if it's a which number it is, if you know that, that'd be great. But that will automatically be added to your cart. Christopher showed that last night during his live. If you want to know what that was about. I just realized I did not start my camera, so I don't see it on my screen. So I need to I like to see it. So then I just wiped it off, and I'm going to set this aside to dry. Okay, so let's do that quick. And I wanted to show you also, through the magic of television, this is what it looks like. If you have not gotten these little spray trays, hi Jesse, $25. Okay. Hi Jesse, how are you? These little trays are perfect. I like to put all of my little wet things in them to dry, and it just kind of keeps them from, they don't stick. So yeah, the freebie Friday, if you spend $25, you're going to get one of those, get the water reactive paper in your cart automatically. But here is that Cosmo glitter, and it is dry. This one here is the Creative Confection. So I wanted to put them next to each other so you could see the difference. So, I mean, of course the color is different, but this one has some of those big mica flakes and stuff in there, where this one just has more of the little like glittery things. So those are some differences between those two, but we're going to use those. Yes, if you play $65, you get an incentive stamp. It is the Fishing You, I believe, one. I do not have it yet. It'll be here next week, I'm sure, so I can show you then. But what I was going to say is I will not be live next week. I am going to be in the Windy City with my daughter at an event she is hosting, and so I will not be live. So, okay. So I did the same thing with the Chroma Matte and the Candy Coat Teal, and that's what they look like. So this is the Candy Coat. So if you wanted to compare them, see the differences. We've got the Creative Confections, we've got the Candy Coat, and of course the color's different. And then we've got the Cosmo Glaze. So they're all fun little different ones. This was the Chroma Matte because I wanted to have a little bit of a darker color blue. And then last but not least, I used the Splash Glitter Glaze, but this is more of a translucent, if that's the right word. Am I saying that right? So I did put it on Lagoon cardstock so that it would, I didn't want the white to show through, and then you can just see. And this one was quite thin actually, but it just adds a little extra sparkle. So the color doesn't change much on this, but you can see the blue, where if I'd put this on white, you'd see it a lot more of the white through it. Okay, so we've got those, and we're going to die cut those out with our waves here in a few minutes. But first I wanted to do some stamping with you guys. So if you download the SVGs for the incentive sets, I have a little video up on my blog or on my YouTube channel about how I make these little squares. I call them my negative pieces to stamp on. And then what I do is I stamp the stamps down, and then I just take these little squares and I line them up. And it's going to be kind of hard to see. I don't care how clean they stamp, but I line them up so that and you can see I moved one earlier, so that's why this one looks like this. But I just line up so my outer edges look pretty close to about perfect with what I want. And then I just die cut a bunch of the white shapes out. And then I have some low tack tape, and they're like repositional tape. And it just fits in there like a puzzle piece, see? And then I can take my stamp and I can stamp it down. There's my little perfect press here. And then it pulled up because I don't have enough of that double-sided or repositional adhesive on there. I used this quite a bit last night, so I'm just going to rub my fingers on it, see how good I get it. And what I found, that if it's not perfect, I lay it back in and I double stamp because I didn't line it, moved just enough. Because sometimes I try to tape my paper down, but it does sometimes still move, like this one did. And I even tried to flip it over. It moved just enough. I'll just use this as a backer piece to like build up my my stand, instead of using foam tape. So we'll see if I got this lined up right. You can kind of eyeball it. This is the easiest way for me to do this. And then I just sit and stamp a bunch out. And I go over and over and over and stamp them out. Now, the reason I have to double stamp some of these is because my ink pad needs to be re-inked. I mean, you guys all know this. I use my ink pads a lot, and I don't always cover them. So then, of course, they dry out. If you cover them and you are better with your, they won't dry out as fast. But I will tend to use it all day on Saturdays and Sundays some days, and so it just gets out. So then, and like I said, I probably need to line it back up so it's not 100% perfect, but it works for me. So there it is. And it's the same thing whether you're doing sentiments or little stamp sets and things like that. And then what I do is I just stick these, and I like to use good, hard, heavy paper, and then I just stick them inside with my stamp set. Same thing with my extra blanks or my extras that I cut. Sometimes I'll stick them inside here. But right now what I'm going to do is I actually have, this is the packaging that my stamp came in. And I'm going to stick all my extras inside here. So tomorrow I will probably sit down and stamp the rest of these so they're ready to go. And then I will have them ready. And I can stick this in my stamp packaging and it will stay together. So I hope that helps you guys a little bit. I just figured I'd show you a very quick version of how I do that. Just put this out of the way here. So, okay. So I have one of my little boats colored, and I have my sentiments already, and I have, you've keep me steady when seas are rough, and thanks for helping me find my way. So we've got both of these. Those work really well with, obviously the lighthouse. And I have those here. I haven't colored one yet, so I hope it's okay if you color one. I also stamped out some of the waves with some of the no diving ink. So we have some just options. And I'm not sure which sentiment we're going to use yet, but I'm going to do a quick coloring thing here, and then we'll go on to moving on. Because the other stamp I wanted to add is, this is an old one. This is from last year, but it is called Kraken? Is it called What's Kraken? And the reason I wanted this one is because I love this little boat, and the die set is still available, and I think it'll be fun, even though they're different kind of genres. They're both sailboats, and I think they'll be fun because one will add depth. I also could add the Kraken to one of these. There is another stamp set which I forgot to put in my collection. It's called Sand Dune, and it also has a couple lighthouses, and it has another little boat. But um, we might use this year Anchor Me, but I haven't decided if we're going to use that one tonight or not. I just wanted to show it. Okay, so I already have some of these all stamped out on paper. I just need to do a little bit of coloring, quick coloring, and then die cutting, and we'll put it out. To me, a lighthouse is they're got to be kind of like red and white. So hope that's an okay color for you guys. So I'm going to quickly do that. And I think we're just going to do, I'm going to do the, just a quick color. Doesn't have to be, these are smaller images. You don't have to do a lot of shading unless you really want to. I tend to do more shading when I'm crafting for fun versus crafting live. I think we're going to put this part red here. And then I prefer to, just do quick coloring when I am live. Oops. I need the right red color here. So if you have not seen me color before, I have switched to Olo markers. I have some Copics, but I really like my Olos. I think they're fun, and they just work really well for me. So I use them, and they work really, I like them because our Raven ink is alcohol safe. Sometimes you might have to heat set it if you stamp it right away. I usually will heat set it if I'm going to color with it right away, especially if I'm using light colors. just to make sure it dries, because every time you stamp, if you stamp multiple times, that is another layer of ink, which I never thought of really before. That, try to cover up that little spot right there so you don't have to stare at that. Um, and that makes sense to me, that if you stamp it down 3 times, it's 3 layers of ink that have to dry. So I do have this RG3. I'm going to go ahead and just color in the downstairs window. And I think I'm going to color this top part up here. And then for white, what I'm going to do is, the color I like to use for white is this BG70. Hi, Laura. Laura, catching for Oregon. Well, thank you for watching. My name's Candy. I live in northeast corner of Iowa, and I am the inspiration team leader for Brutus Monroe. And I craft every Friday live. Next week, I will not be live because of, I think this is drying out because I've had this one a long time, because I'm going to be out of town. But we are using part of the new release, and that's the Thanks for Sailing, and then some of the old release from last year called What's Crackin'. And we used some of the what is it called? The consumables, like the glazes and stuff. And then of course for the light, we have to have a yellow light, correct? So I'm just pulling colors. I don't really pay that close attention, other than I look at the color. I don't care about the number. And I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow, and then I'm going to kind of just put it a little bit like that, which I just swished it out. Let's see if you can move that up a little bit. And then I'm just going to use the white too. So I am not, my white isn't really showing up that well with the sides of my lighthouse here. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. Now I have a fun little family tidbit. My mom, on my mom's side of the family, because my mom is from San Diego, she had an uncle that used to run a lighthouse back in our family genealogy at Point Loma, for anyone who's been to California. So I think that's kind of fun. So my mom has a big preference for lighthouses. So we've got these, and then I want to quickly, I don't know if I'm going to use the Kraken tonight. We might, because that would be fun for this You Keep Me Steady When Seas Get Rough. But I think that would be fun. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the same kind of colors. We're just going to use the R1.5 to color our stripes on our little ship here. We're, like I said, we're just doing some basic coloring. I should probably put my cheaters on here. And I think we'll color the top flag there, white, that. And then I actually haven't been in one myself that I can recall. I've been near a couple of them. I'm from Minnesota originally, and there's the Split Rock Lighthouse up on the Minnesota, on the Duluth North Shore, and I've been there, but I don't think I went in the lighthouse. And then they have like a small lighthouse that you can walk to, but I don't, that's in the Bay Area, but I don't know if you can go in that one or not. But I think it would be fun to do that too. So I'm just adding a little bit of gray to those sails just to give them some color. And I'm using some of the colorless blender to kind of, what is that called? Blend it out a little, not blend, I hate that word, but even out the colors a little bit. And then we're just gonna grab a different marker. I use this a little bit darker marker for these, and I'm gonna use this 027 for this. And I'm not gonna worry too much about the windows being different colors, because it's a boat, and it's a boat made of wood. And if you're gonna look inside the wood, you're gonna see you're gonna see the wood anyway. So, and this is just such a small area. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just color the whole thing brown. I'm not gonna do any kind of shading to the boat section, because it is quite small, and it's gonna be farther away from our point of view. And then I'm just gonna grab a different color for the little bit of, just to give it some difference for the other pieces of wood here. There's very small parts on this little sail. So if you use, when you're coloring, my tip is to just barely touch the marker to the page. And just, it's very hard to describe. You're barely touching the paper and just kind of wisping it back down. Okay. Yeah, and that's the basic colors for our Kraken. For some fun, let's make him a fun color. We're going to make him VO3 because, hey, Sandy, how are ya? You guys know, a lot of you know purple's my favorite color. This is kind of a purpley pink. It is violet 03, but is more pink. We're going to make our Kraken, and I'm going to color him all one color too, just in case we decide to use him, because then we'll have a pop of color on our card. Oh, here comes my little mongrel. He likes to come upstairs when Mama is crafting so he can listen to me talk. Right now, he's looking to get into some trouble, it looks like. Fridays are the days he doesn't have as much attention from his mommy and daddy, so he likes to try to get our attention. And Mama was pretty tired today, so sometimes when I get home on Fridays, I take him for a WALK. I can't say that word because he'll start whining. And today I was just like, I'm just tired. So before I go live, but a lot of times I'll try to take him after dinner just to stretch his legs. Oh, you got your unicorn pillow? I like to go to garage sales and get him inexpensive toys and pillows so that he can have them, because he likes to tear them all up. You're all snuggled up with the pups on the couch. That's good. So I wanted everyone to know that the new CYOE challenge in the fan club group is also live. It is rainbows this month. So you can use rainbow colors, you can use a rainbow, anything you want. It's just, it doesn't even have to be a full rainbow. It can be, half of them rainbows. Some people use pink in their rainbow. Some people don't use pink. Some people only don't use purple. It just depends. But just color in my little Kraken here. We might add some shading to him when we finish with him, but I haven't decided yet. I'm not going to worry about it too much. All right, make sure his eyeballs are colored in. And he's kind of one-dimensional right now, so you might have to add them. Hi, Sean. How are you? You're supposed to start kind of looking at some stuff. Okay, have fun. I have gone down the rabbit hole very long. I'm going to do more of that tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to quick cut these out with the dies, and then we're going to get our stuff cut, and let's put our card together, and then we're going to grab that coral stencil and make a second card with that. Oh, Pup up here is going to he dropped his unicorn on the floor, and he's going to be like, go get it for me. And I'm going to be like, no. So let's kind of cut out our Kraken here. So I will say that I know a lot of people like dies. I am really, really hard falling on the SVGs because I love being able to let my machine do all the work. I mean, most of the work, I should say. And then I can just set up a little thing and zone out and stamp a bunch of them out, out, out. Oh, thank you, Laura. Like I said, we're going to add maybe a little depth to him here in a few minutes, but I thought it'd be fun to make him pink just because we're going to have a lot of blue on our card. All right. So the nice thing that's kind of fun about the dies is it can cut some of those little shapes out. I think some of the SVGs can do that. I haven't, these obviously didn't need to, but I'm really falling in love with, and I use a Cricut Extra Joy because I don't do a lot of big pieces. I mean, it still makes titles like for my scrapbook pages, but I don't need it to be so big right now. So, all right, so we got our little pieces here. I do have to pull out the Big Daddy die cut machine for the next part. So hopefully we can kind of see that. So we're going to just cut out a few different, like I said, wave shapes here and see what happens. I'm going to do a bunch of different colors and in different shapes, and we're going to kind of hopefully tuck them in with each other. sometimes I can do more than others. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out. This one is listed, like I said, these are all from Lawn Fun. I don't have all their specific names, but I just wanted to show you now. I am gonna personally tell you, I have not die cut these out before. These, the Chroma Matte or the Creative Confections and the Cosmo Glitter. So I am gonna run this through twice. Now I have a Spellbinders Plus, and I do have, sorry for the squeaking. I don't think I have it in all the way, all the way centered. I do have my metal plate that I have bought that's separate to help add that in. Not just my metal die cutting plate, which I had somebody make for me, but I have the metal shim that you can buy too. And that will help. Oh, and some of it came right off on my mat, which is fine because it's so thick. So that is, whoo, I bet you that's not dry. Well, my bad. We're gonna fix that. But look at it, it cut out. So yeah, this wasn't quite dry, but we'll make it work. I can add some more to it. You can see it, it's all on my little thingy here. The rest of these were dry. And I just have to kind of wiggle them back and forth to get that final little cut through, just because it's, it's a consumable, but it didn't really, it cut through. I just need to kind of give that little bit of a wiggle to get it the rest of the way through. So I will do that once we get these all through. Okay, let's gonna clean this off here quick. Like I said, this was not dry. That was my fault. I did it at lunch. I should have done it last night. So I'm just gonna quick wipe it off just before I do any more die cutting. It's not gonna bother me too much. It all is washable. And so what I'm gonna do is, to protect my other pages, I'm just gonna put this on, this is scratch piece of paper here. So yes, please make sure your glazes are dry. I am not a thick, okay, I'm just gonna make sure the rest of that is kind of okay. Okay, that'll work. I don't like to do a lot of thick glazes, but I did do thick today because I wanted to have that nice color when I die cut it out. So that is partly my fault. These ones won't be quite as bad because I know these are dry. So here's the candy coat and the Chroma opaque. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut out more of the same. I'm just gonna cut out more of the same, I just wanna make sure I'm cutting them out the right way though. The same waves. Because if we use that, you keep me steady when seas are rough, these are like rough waves. And I'm gonna cut them more towards the top because we need some space to build them between. And then, like I said, I'm just gonna put this back on top. This is just gonna protect my machine from getting too much of that glitter in it. From my wet pastes. These ones are, like I said, are dry. And I didn't tape them in place. We're going a little wild crazy here. You could also die cut these out ahead of time and then put your mediums on there, but and let them dry, but you definitely want to make sure they're nice and dry before you die cut them. See, look at how nice that is. I like cutting them out after because you get that detail edge with this Lawn Fawn die. And then last but not least, we have our glitter glaze. And I think I'm going to cut a big one and a small one out with this. Where's that other one? Let's cut this one out. We'll cut this one here. And then we'll cut this one like this. Just so we have some ways we can layer some of our waves. All right. Oh, I know, it's so fun. I'm anxious to have more time to play tomorrow. Last week I got up a little bit late, and for me, it was, I took the dog. I used to take the dog at about 8 o'clock, but it was so warm by the time we were done walking that I was like, so I told him, I said, sorry, that was kind of loud. I'm going to take him. We're going to go at 7, I think. The only reason I like to go at 8 is because the library doesn't open till 10 and I can't get there. But I think tomorrow what we're going to do is I have a meeting at 10, a web meeting at 10. And so I'm going to take him early and then hopefully hit a few garage sales on the way home from our little run. And then we will have some time to play. So this is where I was talking about, so I cut these out. So this is where I wanted to be able, so I can layer them like this. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to kind of put some of these off to the side here and we're going to kind of get started. Let's get this last one. So like I said, this is that um, Cosmo Glaze. Sorry, I'm just still getting used to that name. And it was still a little bit damp. And that's why it's not cutting perfectly, but it didn't cut perfectly, but it's coming off pretty easy. I can feel it under my fingers because I did it very thick. And so that's why and like I said, it doesn't take much to just kind of pull it. And this is the spot that's the wettest, I think. So it didn't cut through as well as it should have, but that's because it's still wet. So I'm just going to tear it off a little bit. And I tore it so it's on this side. All right, let's toss that away. All righty, so we got all sorts of little things. One of these is going to be the base. Probably this one, because I feel like we need to get darker, right? So we've got this one, and we'll add a little bit more of that. I'll add a little bit more of that glaze to it after we're done. And then we'll have this one at the back. So, all right, let's get us a card panel. We do want a Not Your, oh, that's not Your Mama's. I do want a thicker Not Your Mama's card base. Oh, which one? The Kraken one, Sandy? The Kraken one's a good one if that's the one you're talking about. When I saw this one, I thought for sure I had to add these two together. So. Oh, I know. I have them all ready for. I have them all kind of into me, but I don't have them. They're not. They're on their. They'll eventually be on their way. So we need to have a little bit of a blue sky, right? Because we're gonna make a sea scene here. So all I'm gonna do is take. I don't think I want to use the no diving. I'm gonna use Clear Skies. That's my favorite of the blues from Simon Hurley's, and my little blending brush here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it can be like a wispy cloud. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of color. Because if it's a kind of stormy, wavy sea, we could add some gray to it. That would make it feel too, but we're just going to add some color down about halfway because that's all as farther we're going to see. And then we're going to start. Yes, I can. You're right. I can just ink blend it too. You're right. Where is that part? Where is that one? That just thing. So, yep, I can because you're in I'm going to use my other one. I like to have two brushes if I can. One for a dark color, one for a light color. They're a little bit different, but yeah, I can. And we can also cover it up a little bit too. But I can add some I could show you how I can add some a little bit to this, but I want to wait till we kind of put it on so that it dries. So what we need to do is we need to start kind of layering these, and I have my little magnets here so that I can kind of hold this in place. I'm going to add these. Now, to make it easier on yourself, it might be easier to do bigger. Oh, the new lighthouse set, this one, the Thanks for Sailing. Yeah, that's a good set. It's a very good set. If you were talking about the other one that I showed, that one's actually an archive set that came back that I never knew about. And I had to buy it because, it had lighthouses for my mom, the sand dune one. When you have them and you cut them such small, like I did, I will tell you that it is going to be harder to put them below and hide edges. So sometimes you might want them longer like this, but I'm going to make it work for myself. So next is this one. And I want to layer these. I'm kind of just eyeballing it and then we'll stick them all back together because I want to know how high up. I want to put the last one down first. And I'm thinking we may not need this one since we have 3 colors here. we might just skip that other light blue one, or I might put it on the bottom. So then we got to stick this puppy in here. And we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to stick them down. And then this last one, which makes the dark, 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 and he's going to go about right there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick him down. Okay. I'm going to use liquid glue for this. And that's because all I'm going to do is, okay, let's see. I want to mark it. I'm going to mark it with a pen. I'm going to mark it right there is where I want to put it. Okay, because you're not going to see that. And all I'm going to do is add a little bit on the edges and ignore my glue looking brown. That's just my pen. Even though it's supposed to be a steel pen, it looks like it's rusted a little bit. And just put a little bit on the bottom. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that I can tuck some things in. And then we're going to just line this up. And then it didn't quite meet the ends, which is fine. We'll just trim the ends off when we get there. But see, now I have that little pocket. So like if we decide to stick our little kraken in, we can put our little kraken in there. Okay. Not sure what's going on in the neighborhoods here, the neighbors. There must have been an animal loose because it sounds like my neighbor's looking for her cat. Okay, so I'm just going to use this piece to kind of eyeball it. And just hold it down. And then I'm just going to put my magnets down. Oh, well, good. Red in the morning sale. Yeah, exactly. I thought this was when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, because I believe that I think our friend Sean here is going to be using this stamp set very soon himself. This is the first set I had from the release, so I wanted to make sure I used it along with some of the other items I had tonight. I'm super excited for the rest of it to come because I want to be able to just make samples. And I thought, let's add a bunch of the different pastes because people always kind of want to know. And I wanted to show you, this isn't even straight. It doesn't have to be. I'm just lining it up so that it goes like this because that's all that matters is that I'm covering up the spots, the edges. And then this big one, which is my one from the bottom, is going to have the most. And I'm actually going to add a little glue right here because it's going to be longer than I need. And so I'm just going to kind of put some on the edges here and a little bit on the bottom just so I make sure. And then when I put it down, I'll make sure that all of that has texture. And then we're just going to kind of move it down. And then what I see here is that, where's my bottom of my card? I am going to use this one. We're going to put it right here. Oops, it goes this way. And then we'll just cut that off because I can eyeball it and look and see that it's going to be at the very edge of my card. So, okay. So we're going to put that down, but let's cut our card off so I know where that is first. Now, in hindsight, you would probably want to wait for it to be 100% dry, but we don't have that luxury all the time. The glue, I mean, we don't always have the luxury of that for a live. So I'm just going to eyeball it and cut it because sometimes those will come off. And then we're going to, there are several layers here. So it's going to take a couple of cuts. So don't be worried about that. It just takes a couple of cuts and I may have to flip it over the other way and then I can use my scissors to kind of finish that off. So when you have layers, you can't like you can force it, but you kind of have to you can't push it. You kind of have to do like I did there. This one doesn't have as many layers on the side, but there we go. And of course, I got to tighten my thing, so I'm going to have to chop that off just a little bit more. There we go. So we've got all that. And then what I'm going to do with this one is we're going to add this one right here at the bottom just to add a little bit more of the wave. And if you really wanted to, you could put it up and then see, I could put my boat right here at the bottom. But we're going to kind of stick it here. This is where I was talking about how I didn't cut it very long and there's not as a lot of glitter in there, but we're going to make it work. I just think it's fun to add this extra little spot. So we're going to do that. And all we're going to do is, of course, my glue is sticking. Add, okay, we're going to get our glue press out. Oh, Laura, go, you know what? I would say go for it. It's a fun, this is a fun stamp set. And yes, pastes are really, can be added for anything. I mean, it's whatever your margin can be, but I really like the fact that these can make texture for cards like waves or spooky nights or swirly skies or galaxies and things like that. So, and we have so many different pastes that they're fun to add them all together to create the different textures and colors. I mean, I'm fortunate enough, I have a lot of the different pastes and colors because I've been doing this. I've been with the team for a while, but you know, you can always start with one or two of the different pastes and see which ones you like and which ones you don't like, and then add on. Or when you're choosing colors, so like when I was looking at the colors, like our shimmer mists, I got a pink and a blue, and then I got the the Cosmo Glaze in the blue, and I think I got a purple. So they kind of all go together. And I wanted the blue because I wanted to be able to mix it with my C's here. So you are making tags. Yes, that's right. Yes. And you're going to be using the stamp set. Yes, I knew that. I had already decided to use this before I saw you guys were going to use that, um but like I said, it's the only one I have right now. So now what I was talking about is what we're going to do is we're going to stick these guys, we're going to stick this underneath, and see here, you're not even going to really see that piece that I rubbed off. I can hide it very well, but this one is smaller and I don't want the waves to show. So I'm going to stick that down underneath. So they're like this. See, so then perspective. And then, you know, for my extra added interest, you could add white, you could add some more, you could add clouds, excuse me. But I think we're going to get, and then of course there's these waves too, which I don't think we're going to use. And then I don't have any sand, so or I don't have any shore, so I'm not going to use my lighthouse right now. Or my Kraken for this one, even though he's cute. I think I like this like this. So we're going to go ahead and add these here. Now, one thing I will tell you that in my personal opinion is I like to use, when I am using glittery stuff like this, I use both liquid. This one isn't going to be so bad, liquid and dry adhesive, because I find it sticks better. Thank you. I love it. And if you are not a member of the Brutus Monroe fan club, please join. Because if you ever have any questions, you can always ask in there. The design team loves to answer questions, you know, from their experience, what they use. Christopher and the team members from the store can answer questions from their end. And I am never afraid of, hey, Candy, will you use this in a live or make a card with this? And I will use it and show you how I do it, just so you know. So this is what we got. And then I think we're going to finish this up pretty quickly. I am not going to put it on a card base. We're going to I'll put it on card base after, because I do want to make one more card tonight. I want to show you the coral. I have kind of a half idea. So we're just going to go ahead and stamp out our sentiment here. And I still, even though we didn't use the lighthouse, we have two, and it's kind of like they're friends, and they're holding each nice. Yes, it's had multiple inspiration. Yeah, exactly. So let's cut this off quick. This is that extra. Ooh, I'm going to lose a die over here. Let's find that before we'll stick that to that magnet. Cut the base off of this so it looks like a real card panel. And like I said, I don't always get them on card bases, especially if I'm going to send them to the store. Okay, my glue is still wet on here. Okay, what's going on with we're going to cut it with my scissors. So one time I got my trimmer and it was, it's loose, and I need to look into getting that It's my fault. I think I did something to it and I dropped it and I put it together wrong, and so it gets loose. There, we'll just cut that with my scissors. There. All right, and I will trim that up. My glue is a little wet right there, so it doesn't want to trim. So we have that, but what I wanted to say is, okay, so yeah, I have glitter on here, but do you see how I'm missing some glitter spots? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Splash glitter glaze, and I'm going to take a paintbrush, and you could do this with any of them. I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm just going to quickly add a little bit more, and I like to be kind of thick with it and just paint it on, and when it dries, and now it doesn't matter if I go over the edges a little bit and it glues it down, but it's going to add a little bit more of that glitter where I forgot or I didn't do it enough or it came off or whatever. And then when it's dry, you won't even know. You can also dab it, you know, to make it more textury. And then I would just normally wash this out in a wet paintbrush, but I wanted to show you can do the same thing with the others. You can do this with, I could do this with all of our glazes. So this Chroma, is that the one? Is this the Cosmo glaze? Nope. It was my Creative Confections, the Huckleberry Swirl. I just take, and see, this is fun. The Huckleberry Swirl's got more of a white base. And I just gonna dab it on in a couple spots to cover up where it was still wet. And I'm gonna grab a little bit, and I'm gonna bring this up a little closer. Oops, put my finger right in that. And you can see right there where I added that ink blending. I'm just gonna grab a little bit, and I'm just using the tip, and I kind of go over that. And then when it dries, you're not even gonna know that I messed that up when I die cut it. Like if you had a white space, you could do the same thing. Like right here, I'm not sure why it looks a little white. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of that blue. And if it blows over a little on this, I could just rub it with my finger. And there we go. Then when I set it to dry, it's gonna be the same color. So there's our first card. We are gonna make one more tonight. You know me, we tend to go over. And I'm just wiping this off, and I'm gonna run this through water really good after we're live. So I'm thinking this piece is gonna go in the garbage. I'm getting a little bit better about not saving every piece. Okay, so we've got this card. We're gonna set this one off to the side for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna do the texture paste quick here. So I am only gonna do part of a card, okay? Because it's gonna be the same thing, but I have one that's fully done. So here is the coral stencil. So yep, just coral. And I am gonna use pixie spray for this one. And the reason I say that is because you got these pieces like this, okay? I'm gonna spray it off camera because you really can't see me spray it. I tend to be a heavy sprayer, so I don't do a lot of ink heat embossing a lot of times when I use pixie spray because I use way too much. And then it gets sticky and then it sticks to wherever I had the pixie spray. All right, so I just let it kind of dry, and I think we're gonna do it this way. And I might do it, I'm gonna do it up a little bit because I'm not gonna worry about, because I'm gonna cut this down anyway. Let's see, actually, we're gonna do it this way. I do wanna do the top and the bottom. Not gonna worry about the side so much. Okay, and then I do like to push it down, and then I'm gonna grab, this is the sand paste. I have the quartz white. There's the, I think it's Bermuda blue. It's blue. There's a blue one as well. And if you can see, it's kind of hard to see because of the white. So it's it's got sandy in it, like sandy stuff in it. Like if you touch it, you can feel it. It feels kind of grit in your hand. And then I just took my stencil and then and it's thicker. So I mean, it's thicker. Some of the pastes are thinner than this one. And I really just spread it. I tried to be thick with it because I didn't want it to be translucent too much. I wanted it to be more of that white color. And I just carefully, now when I do pastes, I try to just go one direction. I'm actually gonna probably have to order another one of these because I'm really liking it and I'm probably gonna use up most of this. I've made 3 so far and I've done really thick, did the full stencil, so probably used more than I needed to. And I will use more up, I'm sure, tomorrow. So I will have to add this to cart. And then I just gently, where I'm at those little bits that can move, I try to go ahead and put that in and like kind of paste it down back and forth just gently. And then I can kind of, like smooth it out and take the excess off. But I like to try to get it there so it's kind of flattened and touching, kind of glued down, if that makes sense. And then I can just kind of go and take the excess off at kind of a 90-degree angle or 45-degree angle. I like to tap my paste down like this. All my pastes, I tend to tap it down like this so that it kind of goes to the bottom. And then it's up to you what you want to do. I'm not use these are not wet baby wipes. I'm just reusing some. Oh, I might stick that in my stencil tray. You can wipe the tops off. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends on the mood I'm in. But I will say, make sure you keep, if it comes with one of these little white pieces, keep that because that helps it keep sealed and keeps air out. See how, I could shake that, it won't come out. Well, good, Sandy. I hope it arrives very quickly because it is beautiful. I have not done much other than this with it yet. I haven't had enough time. If I could craft all day. All right, are you ready for the reveal? 1, 2, 3. Now I have found that it's best to pull it the way, if I had pulled it from this way, because of those little bits, they stuck. So I pulled from the top. And then I have that, and I'm just going to stick it in my little stencil bin. We have these little stencil bins that you can keep water and a little soap in, and that's what I use to soak. And I'll be honest with you, mine soaked for the last 24 hours, and I forgot to wipe it. So it was all off. Yep. Yes, you could. So what I wanted to show you is that this is where I moved that stencil just a little bit. So all I do is I take some sort of like pokey tool of some sort, usually not one of my good ones, and I kind of go in there and just kind of move it over a little bit when it's wet, just to define it a little bit. And I find no one really notices that much of a difference. So I can clean it up just a hair. And then on the sides, if I want to hold it, I used to wipe it like this, but I found that I would sometimes wipe more off. So I've been trying to tap it in a little bit so I don't have to cut that off. And I'm just going to put this aside to dry. And through the magic of television, sorry, wiping my fingers off before I grab the dry one. Here is what it looks like dry. So I'm going to pull that up closer. So it's very, very white, obviously, when it's wet. And it's still white, but depending on how thick you get it, you might have some of that color behind. So, but I think it's really fun. And then if you touch it, it feels like sand, like dried sand. Like you used to put glue when we were kids and you'd go in your sandbox and throw sand on it. So this is what it looks like on Lagoon. And I also did one on Raven. Look at how great and beautiful that is on Raven. And of course, depending on how you tilt it, you can see more. And I think some of that's going to be how thick you put it on. Yeah, isn't that cool? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the black one. I wanted to do it on 2 different colors. This is a lighter and a darker color. We're going to make, this is 6 by 6. So what we're going to do is, because it's a 6 by 6 stencil and I cut, well, it's not quite, and the paper is 6 by 6. The stencil's just, obviously the stencil area is a little smaller. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this right in half at 3, this one. And with this thing, this is one where I would kind of tap it so that it cuts, and it cuts a little more clean. And I'm going to make 2 mini slim cards. So do I have a mini slim card base here so I can show you? Uh-oh, I dropped something on the floor. My dog's going to come get it. Let me go look. Oh, yes. Papers. You would eat those in a heartbeat. Sorry about that. Okay, this is actually a slimline card base. Let's see if I have any mid slim. Nah, we'll just cut this one down. So I like to cut my mini slim card bases to, I'm a 6. I'm gonna do 6 and a quarter by 5 or by 3 1/4. I don't like to do 3 1/2. I like to do 3 1/4. Okay. I'll save that for something else. And look, it fits perfectly right on there. Yeah. Yes, exactly. See, if you've got little areas you can always cover up. I just like to sometimes clean them up a little bit while they're wet, just to kind of give them so that they don't look like if there's a couple areas, but and then that's just so fun. So we're gonna go ahead and go this down, and then here's where's my Kraken. I can add just a fun this, but I think what I want to do is I want to add some sort of fun other sentiments. And I'm just gonna look and see what I got. I'm gonna go run back here. And I might have a few that are done and ready. Nope. So we're just gonna pull this one. This is our super sentimental and our extra sentimental. And I think I'm just gonna make a quick, very basic card base. So let's see. I'm gonna grab Get Well Soon. And I'm going to do Thankful for You. This one is super sentimental, so I will add this to my collection when we get done here, so that is there. And then we can just have a couple of little sentiments, that are down here in the corner. And you basically have a beautiful, easy card. So we're going to do black on white, and we're just going to use this piece that I cut off my sentiments or my card base. I mean, you could zhuzh this up a little bit and add some other color stamps. I think I might die cut this with a circle die. So let us throw this in there. I have to ignore my little die stuck to my magnet here. I want to make sure I don't lose him. I think we'll stick him like this. And then I think for some fun, no, I'm not going to heat emboss tonight. I would normally heat emboss, but I have my fan going above me. And if I try to heat emboss right now, we're going to have powder everywhere because I have pants on right now. I know, Sandy, isn't that it? I was like, I want it too. I've been stocking is it shipped yet? Because I had a couple orders in. Is my mail, is the mailman here? Did it ship? Oh, wait, can I track it? That type of thing. Yeah, I use these are two of my first stamp sets. They're great ones to have because they have such a wide range and you can use so many. All right. I want my mermaids to show up because I want to start coloring my mermaids. I was looking at some of the ones Christopher had colored the other night during his live, and I was just so jealous. I'm like, they're so pretty. I want to color and make purple-haired mermaids and orange-haired mermaids and all that fun stuff. Is my stamp set here yet? And of course, all the other fun goodies. All right, so I've got one here, and then this one we're going to die cut out quick. So let's grab a circle die. If I can find one quickly. There we go. Let's see which one fits the best. That one looks like it's pretty good, so we'll go die cut that out quick. I'll use my small die cut machine. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So I have a funny story to tell you. Tonight I reached out to Sean. He's listening. He's here in the things tonight to ask him a favor, and he told me I'll probably be okay. I went garage selling. I think I told you, and my daughter's a huge Halloween fan like Christopher. And I stopped at one garage sale just for fun. It's a friend of mine because I was on my way home, and I'm like, okay, I don't have to go over here tomorrow, which is good because she said she wouldn't be open tomorrow. And there's no way I could buy any of her clothes because she's so tiny and I'm not. I mean, she's a little shorter than me, but she's tiny in the waist. So we were just kind of joking around, and I found this one thing that I wanted. Actually, Mom, I got a new quilt rack. Um, I'll send you a picture of it later. And I I'm actually, guys, we're gonna cheat with this because I don't have a card base for this right now. I don't have two card bases. We're gonna cut this in half and use them as card panels, and then I'll put them on a card base later. Anyway, I was getting ready to leave, and I was telling her that she knows she's a teacher at school, so she knew my daughter, and I told her I was going to see her next week, and that the reason I said it is because I saw this Jason mask sitting there, and my daughter, as some as you well know, we're having a Friday the 13th party, and she is going as a bedazzled Jason. So she took a Jason mask, and she has been gemifying it, and it was almost done. I think she just had the edges to do the other night. And she was, and I said, so I showed her this. Well, anyway, she just said, well, she should get this. And what she had is she had a Freddie sweater. And I was like, oh, and I looked at it, and I know it wouldn't fit me, but I knew it would fit my daughter. And then I see she had the Freddie hat. Oh yeah, I know. I know. And then I may still ship them to her. I haven't decided yet. Depends on how full my suitcase is. Anyway, she also had this one plastic hand that had the plastic Friday fingers. So I sent the picture to my daughter and asked her if she wanted them, and she's like, absolutely, because she always tells me Freddy's her boyfriend, which I think is funny. So yeah, so she's got an old now Freddy outfit. And I don't unfortunately fit into it. So I thought that would have been fun for me to go as Freddy since she's gonna go as Jason. But um anyway, so I texted Sean because he would know I trusted his judgment with airline. Like, can I pack this in my suitcase? And he's like, you're crazy. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I know, but I didn't know if I should just mail it to her or if I didn't. I may end up mailing it to her, like I said, because I don't know about the hat. I may not have room and I don't want to squish it. I love the fonts on these too, Laura. They're a fun font. There's lots of fun handwritten fonts, but yet they're not so handwritten that they're like the same fonts you see everywhere else. I think I'm going to put this one right up here. And then these were just, look at how quick and easy these were. The thing that took the longest on this is wetting these dry. And I did do these last night just because I knew I wouldn't have time to get all of that stuff done today. And I mean, pretend that's a card base. And then you know what I'm going to do for some fun? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to figure out which ones I want to do. And I think we're going to add, I'm going to do the crystals. We're going to add some of our flat back crystals, and we've got a couple of fun cards that we will be ending just a little early or a little late. Not too bad. So I'm just going to grab, and how I do mine is I just like to add a few here and there. I don't think about it too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we'll put 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put 4 and 5, and then we'll put 1 here, 6, and so I think about it a little bit. 7, good enough. And then I'm going to get out my little pokey tool. Shake. I like to put mine in my lid, and then I just shake my lid, and my lid will just flip them all to the right size, so I don't have to sit there and fuss with them. I need to sharpen my tip on my little stick here, though, because it's picking up more than one at a time, and of course that's stuck down on 2 on glue because it's not very pointy right now. And then, just like I said, shake that again, and then yeah, look at that. I picked up 4. And there we got it, you guys. So I hope they're kind of completely different cards, but I wanted to use a little bit of the release tonight. And I originally was thinking I was going to mix the boats with my corals, but then I changed my mind when I wanted to pull out these other pastes. So we have 2 very different types of cards tonight. but very fun cards in my opinion. So I'm going to just tap it down to pick up any extra glue that might be on the edges. It just helps kind of, I don't move it, I just push down straight. And then I see I have a little edge here. Thank you. I'm going to stick a little bit of extra glue right here. Now you could probably have popped that up because there is a little bit of a raised edge there because of that dimension, but I think if I stuck this on there in the morning, it would be flat. So let us get some of this stuff out of the way. I'm sorry we didn't use my Kraken. We've got oh, that's still wet. Remember that, Candy. We'll squish that over a little bit more. I keep forgetting I don't usually have a wet card sitting here. There we go. So we have two very different types of cards here using some of the products, but I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, I will not be live next week. Don't forget it's Freebie Friday. So for a $25 order, you get the new water reactive paper. Will automatically enter your cart. Sarah will be live on Monday, and Christopher will be live on Tuesday, and then the Men Have Been Roll with Walter and Sean will be live on Wednesday next week. So, like I said, check out the new release, check out the collection, and have a great rest of your night. Is there any sparkle, Shelly? No, there is not. I mean, I'll kind of show it. So you usually can see it if it's just. Now I don't have the blue. I don't think there's any sparkle in it. It's just like, and I think it's fun I liked it because I mean, this looks like coral, really. Thank you. Where like you can see the sparkle when I go like this, you can see my sparkle. So there is no sparkle in that sand paste, which makes it kind of fun because I don't know if you would have to want to have that. I mean, it'd be a fun difference to have sparkle too. If you wanted sparkle, you know what I would do is I would take my my favorite Chroma Mist, even though this is gold, and I would spray it before I matted it down. Like here, I'll show you. I'll do it real quick. I'll do it on this one quick. I prefer the ornament gold to any of the others. If I want just a little sparkle. And I had to do it over that because it would make a mess. But once it dries, it's going to be hard to see it. But yeah, it's really hard. I can see it in person, but now it's like sparkly. Okay. Thanks, Sean. Laura, thank you for joining me. Yes, it'll be 2 weeks. The 20th is the next time I will be live. Okay. So I will see if I can kind of, once it dries completely, I'll see if I can get a video of it and post it in the Bruce Manuel fan club so you could see if it, but the sparkle is definitely on the background more than on the paste, but when it dries, it may, and I'll let you guys know. So have a great evening, you guys. Have a great weekend. Have fun. I hope you all can do some crafting, and I will see you the next time. Bye.